How you doing? My name is Brian Fleming, and I'd like to welcome you guys to the Libertarian Party Brevard County Indian River Rally. Today we're going to have a couple of candidates come out here and speak. The first one I'd like to introduce is Chase. He's running for President of the United States. He's run for two other offices since he started his political career. The first one is the 5th Congressional District in Georgia. He is from Atlanta, where he resides, and then he ran for Senate, where he did a live debate against Senator Raphael Warnock. If you didn't get a chance to watch that debate, you should watch it. He did a great job, fantastic bang-up job. But right now he's touring the country, of course, for his presidential election, and of course we're happy to have him, and we can't wait to hear his awesome speech. And we welcome him to the best county in Florida, way better than Duval. All right. Welcome Chase Oliver, please.
So thank you guys for having me out here. I cannot endorse one county over another here in Florida because I don't live here, so I feel like it'd be disingenuous, but I want to say I've enjoyed my travel all through the state, and here in Brevard County is no different. I am here to speak a little bit about my campaign and then introduce our next speaker here. So if you want to check out the website, let me go ahead and get that plug out of the way. It's at votechaseoliver.com. And if you like what you're hearing throughout these remarks and you want to go ahead and join the campaign, you can just text the word CHASE to 21,000. And so I am here to speak a little bit about why I want to be our presidential candidate, why it's important for us to have a libertarian presidential candidate out there. Because right now, we are running into a 2024 election cycle where we have extreme voter dissatisfaction with the two-party system. We have a likely rematch of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden 2.0 in 2024, and Americans are sick and tired of old candidates with old solutions from old parties. So I think it's time we provide a new voice, with new enthusiasm, with new, fresh ideas for the 21st century. And that's why I want to be our candidate, because I know I can be a great messenger of the libertarian philosophy throughout the 2024 election cycle. There are so many issues where we have to have a libertarian voice, whether it be the extreme rise in inflation and cost of living that are happening through households all over the country, whether it be housing, the cost of food, or any other area of the cost of living that is being driven out of control due to reckless inflation that's caused by reckless government spending. And so we have to have somebody who's willing to talk about actually getting the budget balance, actually starting to pay down the debt and deficits. Because it's not me that's going to be paying it. It's not you that'll be paying it. It's your kids and grandkids that'll be paying with that, with an economy that is in the toilet. I want to make sure over the next quarter century we have an economy that flourishes and is bringing prosperity and broad prosperity across the country. And the truth is we don't have politicians in Washington, D.C. who are thinking about that next quarter century. They think about the next financial quarter, or at best, the next 2 years before the next election. And we need to have somebody in the White House who's willing to speak to the values that will have a broadly prosperous economy over the long term. And when we talk about those issues, there are major other issues going on in the country that we have to address. Our immigration crisis in this country. That's not a crisis caused by immigrants, that's a crisis caused by government, getting in the way of letting immigrants come here and work and survive and thrive and start their American dream like nearly everybody else's ancestors did in this country. We don't need to be pulling up the ladder behind them. We need to make it easier for people to come here and work, people to come here and start their American dream, because when we do that, when we take the eye off the ball of the 99.9% proverbially of those people who just want to come here and work, we can put our law enforcement focus, we can put the Border Patrol on those people who want to do real crimes by smuggling people across the country via human trafficking. That is a real crime. That needs to be addressed. So let's address that and not the 99% of people who want to come here and work. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about education. If you're watching out there and you're a parent, I bet you have unconditional love for your children. I bet you would die for your children. You would do anything you could for your children to see them succeed. And that's the difference between you as an advocate and the federal government bureaucrats as an advocate for them in D.C. Because they don't know your children. They don't know your family. They don't know your community. They don't know the solutions that you need. So why are we giving power to those in Washington, D.C., to those bureaucrats who are going to treat you, your family, and your community like numbers on a spreadsheet and like stats for funding? Let's take the power out of the hands of Washington, D.C. Let's bring it back to local communities all over the country and bring it back to individuals to decide for themselves their healthcare decisions, their education decisions, and pretty much every decision that they can. Because the truth is if you're not harming anybody, you're not committing force, fraud, coercion, or theft, the government shouldn't be up in your business. Your business is your business, your life is your life, and that should be your decision to make. And everything, as much as possible, should be localized. decentralized away from Washington, D.C., decentralized from these people who don't know you, they don't know your family, and they don't know your community. Let's bring the power right back here. And that's the kind of campaign for president I'm running. And so if you're interested in this kind of campaign, there's victories we can win all over the country. And one of those is local, winnable, libertarian races, and with local libertarian candidates. And that brings me to our next speaker, someone who I've been proud to endorse here in Brevard County, someone who I think will be a passionate voice at the local level for those policies that will benefit their communities all over the country. He is exemplary of that effort. He works very hard, and he wants to earn your vote here in Brevard County. And so I am proud to introduce, I am proud to endorse, and I'm proud to say this is the kind of local libertarians we want to see winning all over the country. I'm going to bring up Nathan Slusher. Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to let you speak for a little bit. Thank you very much for hearing me out. I want you guys to hear from him. Thank you.
I just want to tell everybody thank you. Give another round of applause for Chase. I'm super happy that he was here in Brevard County today. Thank you for coming out with us.
Absolutely, man.
Listen, guys, we're hosting the Indian River Rally on the Indian River for one very important reason. Whether you're traveling from Mems to Miko, from Melbourne to Titusville, the Indian River is one of the largest problems that we have in Brevard. Not because it exists, that's not the problem, but because it's gone downhill. Over the last 20, 30 years, we've heard 10, 20, 30 different reasons why the Indian River has gone downhill. From pollution to clamming, to sewage lines, to destruction, to parking lots, to manatees. I've heard extreme reasons why the Indian River has gone downhill, okay? But what I've also heard is a lot of people pointing fingers saying who should fix it. I recently had a good friend of mine talking to the city of Titusville, and he said if the city of Titusville thinks that their small government can fix the Indian River by themselves, they're crazy. And I'm going to congratulate him because he hit the nail on the head. One small government is not going to fix the Indian River. It's way too big. All right? It's 76 miles just in our county alone, and it goes north and south. Titusville can't fix it by itself. Cocoa can't fix it by itself. Melbourne can't fix it by itself. The little towns of Mims and Sharps and Port St. John, they can't fix it by themselves. Tallahassee is never going to fix the Indian River by itself. The federal government and Congress are too busy fighting to fix the Indian River by themselves. So what I'm proposing is I want a District 1 representative who's willing to work with all of our municipalities. Because until we work together as one, the Indian River will never be fixed. That means instead of sitting on your dais as a government and talking about the ways to fix it, you get off your butt, get in your car, and go to all the different cities and have communications with the leaders of those cities to try and come up with plans to fix the river. The best solution I have heard yet that should start this process is seagrass. We all know the lack of seagrass in our river is a problem. But we don't need to tell people that seagrass is a problem without a solution. We don't need to tell people just grow seagrass and it fixes it. Let's empower our citizens to grow seagrass. Let's empower the businesses that have built along this river up and down to grow the seagrass for us. Instead of letting the government handle it, let the people with the power and the property handle it. For instance, if one of these businesses own land that's underwater out here, let's give them a percentage of their property taxes off for every percent that is a solid seagrass bed. And every year it must be checked, and every year it must be kept up. Because once that seagrass starts coming back, the river starts coming back. But until we're done pointing fingers, it's not going to happen. So that's my first solution, is to work with our various community organizations we have and try and get these seagrass beds built and let them start growing. Because once those seagrass beds start growing, our Indian River starts coming back. And that's how we begin conservation in Brevard. Is working together to grow this river back. It's not telling people what to do. Because as the river grows, Brevard is growing. Our population is growing. We all know it. We're having, I think we had 20,000 people in Brevard move here last year. It's growing at a rapid pace because The space industry is privatizing. And I find that to be a great thing. People have opportunity here. The only problem is we don't have enough houses to keep up with it. So we need to work on changing some of the laws that control the housing economy in Brevard County to allow for different kinds of houses. We saw just recently private housing being shut down in the Atlantic. Homeowners who are being stopped building stuff because neighbors don't like it. These need to be addressed. If they're hitting codes, if they're safe, we need to let people build. If they're not being safe, if they're endangering our environment, if they're harming people, they get stopped quickly. But if no one's being harmed, government needs to get out of the way, because that's the only thing that does is drive up the cost of housing more. And all of us need lower cost housing in this area. Now, I can't control the federal rates. I can't control what happens up there. But what I can do is help push the increased supply here. And that is what we can do on the bottom end. Because as we increase supply, our economy grows. We've got enough jobs to support the people coming in. For those who haven't checked, the August unemployment rate was 3.2%. According to best guess from the government, we have 9,900 people without a job on any given day. And yet, we have approximately 14,500 jobs available. Hell, I saw now hiring sign on my way here, the 2 miles coming down Garden Street. We have the jobs available. We don't have the people available. So while my opponents, both the Democrat and the Republican, who are both running on jobs and infrastructure, they have the same platform, all right? They are running for jobs and infrastructure. We have more jobs than humans. That's a trick. It's so they can get in there and they can make rulings to give rich people power. There's no reason for major companies to be getting our tax money from Brevard County citizens. Single mothers and veterans should not be giving up their tax money to big corporations. If big corporations want to come compete, let them compete. If they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. But there's no reason any of us should pay taxes for sprinkler systems. And that's a thing. Our tax money has been given to a big corporation in Brevard for sprinklers. And it's beyond ridiculous. So when you hear the words jobs and infrastructure, know it's a fraud. Because I'm here for the blue-collar people. I work blue-collar myself. I carry wood every day. I do renovations. And we need more people like that. We need more representatives to the people and not more bureaucrats. So with that, I want everybody to go check out my website at nathanslusher.com. It's NathanSlusher.com. Because Brevard County is driving forward. We can get a person into District 1, not another fraudulent politician. And we can go back to representing this city. And we can make change. We can save the river, but it doesn't work if we keep electing bureaucrats. All right, so thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Chase, if you would join me one last time. I just want to, once again, I want to thank Chase. He's traveling all over the country, and he decided to make a stop here in Brevard County in Titusville to see the sights, because I don't know about you, but I think it's an absolutely beautiful site here. We love it. So if everybody would, put your hands together for Chase Oliver for president coming into Titusville. Thank you. Everybody, this is LP Brevard. Have a wonderful day.